Hey y'all, this is Marley K. Hope y'all are well. I want to talk about the red pill community because it seems like it's falling apart and kind of like I suspected. And I've made my thoughts about it some time ago to a couple of people, and they kind of thought I was crazy. People always think I'm overly suspicious of everything, but it's not that. I just kind of overthink and I tend to analyze everything. And because I do research for a living, it is just in me to just be suspicious of things until I get some comfort or find that something is safe. And that's very rare in this society that we live in. So, the business, which is Jason Black's other site, he basically did a good analysis of the red pill community. And, I admittedly didn't know anything about the red pill community until maybe 2 years ago. But I've known about these types of communities from working in sexual assault and children's advocacy for years. We called them the incel communities, and we always knew that they had online communities where they basically, you know, talked about women. They were upset because either they didn't get sex, they didn't get the women that they wanted. Sometimes they were dysfunctional men who lived at home with the parents, played video games, socially awkward nerds or whatever, and just had a variety of issues. Maybe not the best looking, and so they were angry, and they were in these spaces basically talking about women. Not a whole lot of Black people were in these spaces because we don't have the same problems. It was a predominantly Caucasian phenomenon, let's say that. But this red pill community came online, and it started out with the same suspects, but somehow our people got up in it, and I was shocked. I was like, what is happening? You know, but taking a look at it, a lot of these Black men that were in these spaces were like just beaten down by, sometimes it's personal issues, personal mistakes, or just, life in general, going through bad divorces, bad relationships, um, failure to accept responsibility or take accountability for their own actions. And so it became like a breeding ground for a place to go vent about women. Being a part of the world's most hated woman group myself, I was like, we got another space that we have to worry about where men are, berating us, and then our men. So, I was really saddened because I know that space it basically counters everything the Most High intended for us. And anybody who was in it, I felt like they can't be a believer, not truly. You could say you're a Christian or you believe whatever, but you couldn't be in that space and be serious about the Most High. And, regardless of what's going on in the world, regardless of what's going on in your personal life, you couldn't be a believer in the Most High and agree with a lot of the things that were said in those spaces. And again, I don't disagree with every single thing that came out of that space, because a lot of the stuff about modern women was spot on, about feminism, about just how women have been encouraged to pursue their goals and dreams and careers, and not family, and uh, building society in the ways that women contribute and build societies. And so now we have this dysfunction, and it just kind of looks like we're the face of it. Although we did not create the red pill community and we did not create feminism, I'm a firm believer that both of them came out of the alphabet agency that created the one that knocked off Dr. King. I believe our people are the face of feminism and red pill now. And it's quite embarrassing how we continue to allow ourselves to be used by all these different groups. Like we're used to export dysfunction. And again, it's not like people didn't know these communities existed, but it's like when we attached ourselves to it, we magnified it. And so I want to play this video from the business where he basically talks about his suspicions and why this community was never good for Black people. And now Black people are out here looking crazy, Black men and Black women, who are in these spaces because you're starting to see everything that was wrong with it from the beginning, except for people just never really paid any attention to it. So let's get into this video.
All right. Are you ready? Because I'm ready. Well, it only took a few years here, but it looks like everybody is finally starting to wake up to what Jason Black was saying years ago. It wasn't fashionable when I said it. It wasn't in style when I said it. But now you're starting to hear this kind of thing go on. So with that being the case, I'm glad to go ahead and let you all know. Tonight, I'm not the only one to say it here. Boy, some of the big heavy hitters are now saying what I've been saying for years, that the red pill is dead. They are going all out here. There was a post on Twitter that Tristan Tate, brother of Andrew Tate, was referring to. And what I want to actually put this in a little context for you all. So I want you to see exactly what the post was to set that off. Now, so that you get the analysis you'll receive nowhere else. This guy, David Rams, he had said, vegan activist Joey Carbstrong, all right, will debate red pill celebrity Tate the Talisman on veganism. Some vegans are mad about this. They're comparing it to drinking tea with a Nazi and saying it's wrong to engage with someone like Tristan. In 1993 in South Africa, a pro-apartheid militia group was planning to lynch thousands of Black men to prove a point. The country was on the brink of civil war. Nelson Mandela invited the leader of the racist militia for a meeting at his own home, made him tea, treated him with respect, and through understanding was able to prevent any violent action. Having tea with the enemy saved thousands of innocent lives. Joey is no Nelson Mandela and Tristan is no armed racist militia leader, but the lesson is important. Cancellation and exclusion doesn't help. It requires zero effort and the result is more radicalization. Making contact and trying to understand why someone believes what they believe requires a lot of effort, and you have a far higher chance of changing their mind. If you want to change the world, you have to talk to people you disagree with. All right, that was the original post. That was the original post. And Tristan Tate responded to it down here. Please don't refer to me as red pill. Those people are autistic. Also, as a half-Black man descended from slaves, I find your choice of example in very poor taste. I don't need white people even loosely likening me to apartheid politicians who want to lynch Blacks. Thanks. So, yeah, if anybody wondered about the genealogy of the Tate brothers, we'll let that speak for itself. So now you've got the full context of it there, but it also shows us something. What it shows us is the Tate brothers are fresh out the pen. They're back on the streets, and they're doing something very smart right now. They're taking corners. I mentioned this weeks ago, but by the way, the Tate brothers are back on the block. They surveyed the rest of the people out there. They've seen the competition is weak, and they said, hey, we're going to take your corners. And so what they did was get their sniper rifles together, put the red pill in the crosshairs, and take it down. So now you're seeing that the situation was bad. Of course, the situation's been bad. It's been bad and getting worse across the board for people. Because there are some folks out there who apparently didn't know when to leave well enough alone, or at least they should have. Or at least they should have known that this was coming because they were weak. Now, I've been saying this forever. I've been saying this for the longest time. I've been telling people that the red pill isn't anything good for men in general, black men in specific. I've been saying that for years. And now, all in 1 week it seems, the so-called godfather of the red pill, the so-called godfather of the red pill got taken down by some new jacks who basically simply played off of what I said. All I said is if you ever get to talk to Rollo, because he's been running for me for years, if you ever talk to him, all you got to do is ask him, define alpha male. He doesn't know. He uses these terms all the time, but in reality, he is basically a red pill illiterate. He runs around banding around phrases, and he just hopes that you assume what it means. But in reality, he doesn't know. So remember, I told you all, ask Rollo to define alpha male. He can't do it. These guys went even further. They simply told him, define high value man. And once again, he got made a monkey of in front of everyone. Now, this is from Fresh and Fit's program, Fair Use Buckos. On Fresh and Fit's program, Sneeko and Destiny were there, and Rollo got into his studio. He would have been much better off taking the night off and getting a V8 or a ginger ale or some Pepto or something else. He would have been better off if he had done anything other than what he chose to do. Now, what set all this off, and this is what you all really want me to talk about, so we're going to go ahead and get into it. What really set this all off was that Rollo Tomasi, along with his 9 iron rules, which are specious, he decided to double down. And Rollo puts up this tweet that says the quickest path to becoming a high value man. Number 1, don't get married. Number 2, avoid family creation. Number 3, vasectomy in your 20s. Number 4, lift consistently. Number 5, eliminate all sedations. Number 6, learn game and networking. Number 7, play to your strengths, build wealth. What if building wealth is not your strength? Resist easing up on your focus. So he put out this list, and everyone really zeroed on that, get a vasectomy in your 20s. This is the sage advice of Rollo Tomasi. But then again, if you read his book and he's telling you that you can understand women's moods by their menstrual cycle and the placement of the moon, no, seriously, that's what he says. That women's menstrual cycles and the moon play a serious role in whether or not they want to get pregnant. Their menstrual cycles and the phases of the moon. And you all have been letting this clown run around for years, and I'm like, are you serious? Nobody's been able to take this down before now. He's been on the up on your focus.
All right, I want to talk about this list. I didn't know who Rollo Tomasi was. I saw his name all over one of the YouTube creators that I follow, Black Light Revelations, and I'll include a link to his content. He kind of does long form, same, similar topics that I do, talks a lot about race and reparations and just a lot of things, the hypocrisy of different groups of people. And he picked up on Pearly things a long time ago. So, he's been running her through the ringer for quite some time. But he talked about this dude. I didn't know who he was. But Jason did a great job of, going back and pulling up this thread that Tomasi put up about being a high value man. And I've been hearing a lot of, black men talking about high value man, a lot of black women talking about high value woman, high value. I'm looking for a high value man. Like, what is that? And so this dude's list of, how to be a high value man basically is everything that the Most High tells us to do. So it's like the opposite. It's almost like demonic. So I could never understand. I never understood how men follow this community, again, because it counters everything that the Most High intended for us, Yasharel. So do not get married. If the Most High is sending his son, Yahusha, to come back for a bride, come on. I mean, he says he's supposed to be married. He's supposed to have a wife. He gives us specific instructions on how women or wives should treat their husbands and how men or husbands should treat their wives. So number one is wrong. Number two, avoid family creation. We're supposed to be fruitful and multiply. Nowhere in the Bible does it tell us to have vasectomies and don't make children. Not Yasharel. So again, I don't know why Black people would be following anybody in this community or anything from this community, because it clearly is demonic and not of the Most High. Number three, vasectomy, we already talked about that. Four, lift consistently. Why you gotta lift? Part of the problem with our society is that we discredit manual labor and give credit to people, who have white collar jobs. Back in the day, we supposed to be sweating by our brow to make our way. So we supposed to be laying bricks and cutting down wood and building houses and hoeing and raking uh, gardens and raising our children and farming and doing all types of agriculture and all that stuff that you use to sustain yourselves on your own and not go work as a slave for somebody else. So lifting is, to me, the counter to no longer working by the sweat of your brow. Um, Eliminate all sedations. Well, that's a good one because we're not supposed to be using drugs and alcohol. No complaints there. But sedations, reeks of pharmakia, which we shouldn't be taking pharmakia to get high off of. Learn game and networking. We shouldn't be playing games. Yah does not teach us to engage in anything dishonest or to walk around without integrity. So even, that learning game and networking, we shouldn't do that. And as far as networking goes, if we're light and we produce things that are good, like, we were in the Bible, people will come to us. They'll need us. They'll want us. We won't have to network. They'll be coming to our gates. And so, again, just another reason why our men shouldn't be following this. We're supposed to be leaders and trendsetters, not followers. And this philosophy makes us followers. Play to your strengths and build wealth. Like Jason said, how do you build wealth? Everybody can't build wealth, but maybe, you come from a family of wealth. You do what you need to do to protect your assets or your father's wealth, and you learn how to increase whatever it is that your father left you. Just play into your strengths. Um, we all have talents, skills, gifts, and abilities, but that don't necessarily mean it's going to generate any wealth for you. So you got to figure out what that is and be able to sustain yourself. Lastly, resist easing up on your focus. Just, what if your focus is wicked? If you're in this space, your focus probably ain't right, and something in you probably ain't right. And so your ain't rightness probably is not the right focus. Just saying. So, anywho, I will include a link to this in the description, along with a couple of other links that Jason did about the Red Pill community, in particular Pearly things. I think he did one or two videos on her. But if you are a Black man, you do not need to be in these spaces because they counter everything the Most High tells us he expects from us. And as far as women go, women should not be subscribing to this either. We ain't supposed to be looking for no high value man. We ain't supposed to be modern women, not Yasharel women. So we have really got to work on reprogramming our minds and coming together as one. Feminist movement and this red pill movement have, made it almost impossible for us to be one, to unite as a people when things get bad. And so as things continue to decline, nobody else in the world is going to want either one of us. Nobody wants black men except for a muse, to use as mules and slaves. And same for black women. Black women, people fantasize, lust after our bodies, or they want to use our minds, or they want to use our strength to move them forward someplace. But nobody wants us. We are in a state of perpetual hatred. People hate us. So we got to learn how to work together. We got to come out of these spaces, and we need to start looking at all these different things that are coming our way as divisions, things that the dominant society uses to keep us divided. So, with that said, it's a lot of stuff that's on the internet and in these spaces where people think they're doing self therapy and self help. All it is one big psyop. Get out of it. Everything that's online ain't for us. Everything that's created and sound good and make us feel good, stirring up some of that old hurt and rank and trauma in us, it's not good. So we got to get back to the basics. If it counters what the Most High taught us, it is not for us. It is of something else. Leave it alone. All right, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Also subscribe to my Rumble and Odyssey channels in the event that this channel is taken down. Please consider following me on social media. I'm on YouTube. I'm sorry, I'm not YouTube. I'm on Instagram and on Facebook. Make sure you hit that bell notification so that you can get all the notifications every time I upload something new. And if you feel in your spirit led to support the channel, there are links in the channel for you to donate to my coffee and my Venmo. This is a labor of love. I do not have any affiliations with any affiliates, so I do this on my own because I love my people. All right, y'all, stay prayed up. Ask for spiritual discernment. Don't be following these people out here because you don't know where stuff came from. Research everything. Stick with your own people. And I know it's hard to even trust us sometimes, but we all we got. So I'm trying to, help people understand that it's a lot of stuff going on out here and we don't need this division. So let us come together. Please put some solutions in the description or your experiences with that community. Maybe your experiences dating with this red pill, white feminist movement that is destroying our community. I